Thank you for joining me this week. This week we're covering a topic that I will admit I was a little bit nervous about. I had a friend that asked me to cover imposter syndrome. And this is something that I have struggled with for a very long time. And I can remember it driving me to incredible highs and then running me down into incredible lows. You see, I would have this voice in the back of my head that would always say, you have to work harder. You have to do more. You're not working hard enough. You need to stay later. You need to put in more hours. You need to be the hardest working person in the room. Because if you're not the hardest working person in the room, why are you there? That voice was a little bit brutal. And throughout my 20s and early and mid 30s, I got it under control. And it was still there, but it was muted. And then, okay, so I'm about to bear all. So last year, 2019, I had my first real big engagement. I had done a couple of things here and there, but they were small and for like women's groups that were meeting and things like that. And my first real event was in Las Vegas at the Future Stores conference. And I can remember I invited my husband along, and I thought it would be like a vacation because we met in Vegas and we hadn't been back since. And I was super excited, but we got there and I had a complete meltdown to the point where I was practicing in our room and I looked at him with tears in my eyes and I said, I have to get out of here. And I changed into my swimsuit and I went downstairs and I went swimming because floating in water always makes me feel better. And the voice in my head was not only there, but it was so loud. And it kept saying, you are about to get in front of hundreds of people on a stage where they expect you to be the expert because you have said that you're the expert, and you are going to open up your mouth and nothing of value is going to come out. This was not the pep talk I needed before my very first big engagement. I would like to say at that point I got it under control and I went and I totally rocked the stage. I didn't do bad. Like, I made it through, people laughed, it was a good time. But it's still not something that I remember with pride. But the next big event in Miami at the one in Las Vegas was Future Guests. The one in Miami was Future Stores. I went, it was the same keynote, and I knew, I was expecting it. I knew it was going to happen. And so the day before, I didn't rehearse. I had rehearsed every single day for 2 months. I took that day off. And I changed the narrative in my head. When it would start with, you're not an expert, I would recite everything that I had done to get to that point. And when it would say, you're going to get on stage and open your mouth and nothing intelligent is going to come out, I would say, you know what? I've been practicing. I got this. It's going to be okay. Because the thing about imposter syndrome is it has to build on the belief that you're not enough. And only you can change that belief. And the way that you change that belief is by changing the narrative. It's okay to be unsure. It's okay to be scared. And it's okay to be completely out of your comfort zone. Because that's where growth happens. Growth happens when you're in a situation and you have no choice but to be better. And that is never anything that you should pass up. But know that the little voice inside your head that's telling you you're not good enough, it's your voice. Change the narrative. Every time it says you're not good enough, repeat the reasons why you are. You know what those reasons are. And when I tell you at the end of every video that you got this, it's because I believe in it. Because I know that you got this. In the same way that people tell me I got this when I need it. And sometimes you have to be the one to tell you, you know what? We got this. We're going to go out on stage, or we're going to do that job, or we're going to set up for whatever the event is, and we are going to knock it out of the park. And I'll tell you another little secret. Something that nobody outside of my family knows. I'll put a link to the song. But there is a song that I play with earbuds in my ears as loud as I can stand it before I go on stage on any event. And that song drowns out the voice. That song at that volume is probably not good for my ears, but it drowns out the voice and it puts my headspace where it needs to be. Find the routine that works for you. But remember, when that voice is telling you that you're not good enough, it's your voice. Take control of it and tell yourself the truth. Because you are good enough. And you do have this. Thank you for joining me for this week. Man, this is one that I got pretty worked up on. Thank you for joining me for this week. I enjoyed our conversation. If you want to reach out, as always, you're more than welcome. Don't forget to leave what you learned in the comments. And remember, you got this.